Alrighty then. This is my first try to make a video, and we'll see how it goes. Couple of issues here. The sun is very bright on the snow outside, and so it's not unlike staring into a nuclear explosion. But I'll do the best I can. I'm going to talk about pronouncing the past tense in English, specifically about pronouncing words where the past tense ends in ed. Now, there are a number of verbs in English that are irregular. We can deal with those later. And I'm not so much talking about how you spell them, how you form the past tense, as how you pronounce it. One very important rule I think to remember is that pronounce it like you hear it, not like you read it. That's very, very important. It's important to know how to write and how to read if you want to be really proficient in English, but in order to pronounce a word properly, you need to pay very close attention to how it's pronounced, because it isn't always pronounced the way it looks like it ought to be. So how do you know how to pronounce the past tense of a vowel that ends in ed? Well, really there are three possibilities, and these are my rules. These are things I figured out from observing and analyzing the situation, so any errors are purely mine. But there are three possibilities. The first is that you pronounce that final D as voiced. In other words, you use your vocal cords, and it's going to come out as duh. The second is that you pronounce the final D as an unvoiced consonant. You place the tongue against the roof of your mouth and then release it, and so you get tuh, tuh, tuh. The tongue touching the mouth, the tongue touching the roof of the mouth, right behind the T. Tuh. And the third possibility is that you pronounced ed. You pronounce the vowel and you pronounce the consonant. In this case, it's going to be, again, a voiced duh, using the vocal cords. Ed. Ed. So that's three possibilities. So how do you know what to use? Well, think about it this way. If the ending is preceded by, you have some words like supply, reply, study, view, really, renew, where you have what is essentially a final vowel sound at the end of the verb. When you have that final vowel sound, when you have a word like study, for example, you form the past tense by simply adding, the spelling changes, again, we're not worrying about that. You added the duh sound, and you actually pronounced the vowel plus the consonant, and so study becomes studied. Study becomes studied. For some other words that end in a vowel, the sound is more like I. Reply, supply, spy, cry. In that case, you have an I sound, and you're going to pronounce a vowel plus a consonant, a voiced consonant, I'd. And so supply becomes supplied. Spy becomes spied. Cry becomes cried, and so on. Now, if the vowel ends, if the verb ends in what I call a voiced, really a soft consonant, let's see if I give you a couple of examples here. Stab, bow, star, arrive. Again, Arrive ends in an E, but we're talking about what you hear, what you pronounce, not what you write. If you have that softer consonant sound, L, R, W, D, H, V, and Z, then you pronounce that final consonant as D, and you don't pronounce the vowel. So stab becomes stabbed, vow becomes vowed, star becomes starred, and arrive becomes arrived. Now, that's one possibility. Well, actually, two possibilities. Ending in a consonant. In both of those cases, ending in that vowel sound, study becomes studied. You pronounce the vowel plus the consonant. Ending in a soft sound, L, R, W, D, etc. Stab becomes stabbed, star becomes starred, and so on. You're going to pronounce that D as a voiced D. Now, what about if the final consonant in that vowel is what I would call a hard consonant, and it's unvoiced, particularly words like face, voice, stop, replace. Then you pronounce that final ending, the ending, as simply as a hard T. T. Again, that hard T, your tongue actually basically touches the roof of your mouth just behind your teeth and then releases. So face becomes faced. Voice becomes voiced. Stop becomes stopped. And replace becomes replaced. So that's two, and now we're up to basically three possibilities. The one where the regular verb ends in a vowel sound, study becomes studied, etc. The second, which is where the verb ends in a soft consonant sound, stab becomes stabbed, star becomes starred. Now we have the third possibility where the vowel itself, the verb itself ends in an unvoiced, harder consonant. Face becomes faced, voice becomes voiced, etc. All right. One more possibility in which you're going to pronounce ed. Now, there's a couple. Oftentimes, that is actually two consonants together. Act becomes acted, and so on. But when you think about it, if that vowel itself, if the sound ends in t, then really you can't pronounce it any other way but to pronounce vowel and pronounce the vowel plus a soft D consonant. So promote becomes promoted. Try pronouncing it without putting a vowel in there. You get something like promote. I can't even do it. So if the actual verb sounds ends in a t, ends in that hard T, then really you don't have any choice but to pronounce ed. Promote, promoted. Start, started. Act, acted. Let's see. Fast, fasted. And so on. So those are the three possibilities. And we'll do some more some drills and things in the next video, but I want to keep this thing short. So for now, just consider those possibilities. I think it'll help you. And remember, it's only practice, okay? It's only practice.